Hello, hello, it's Brian from Tavaran Games here with another well-delayed update to Dungeon Maker. This delay is due to me getting COVID, so that was fun and knocked me out for a few weeks. It's not been the healthiest summer, but I've been feeling better and back at it, so we finally do have an update. So the first thing is I finally got another artwork into the game, so in this case this sort of dragon's lair. Again, I'm not the best artist in the world, but I did my best at it, and I think it just adds to the background of the game and is quite fun. Now, let's actually join a game I've got hosted. So we'll join that on the local IP to show some of the multiplayer updates. So one thing you'll notice over here is we now have an update AC, so for AC's armor class button. So this I found while playing with my friends is useful. Like if a player goes from wielding a shield to wielding a two-handed weapon, their AC may change, or maybe they cast a spell that changes their armor class. So if we go to hosts, which is hosting in the editor, so you guys can see this, go to that player and then find their settings down here. We can see the armor class for that player is 14, which is what we see on the player screen. So let's say this player equips a shield and we update that to 16. We can see over here that it's instantly synced on the server side to 16. So that's working quite well, and now players will be able to change their armor class during the game for all the different situations that require that. Okay, so the other thing we've added, we're going to go into a map and drag the player over. This enemy has an area of effect attack that has a force save. In that case, it's the fire breath. So it's a dexterity save. So let's do that and do it on the player. And we'll see two things here. One, I now show more of the dice rolls that are being rolled, as well as the dice conditions in brackets now. As well, in the passing, it'll show the hit result here in brackets before showing any damage or whatever happens. So in this case, it's a dexterity save. The player has evasion, so they actually take 0, the half damage, because they rolled a 19. Now the player won't see their save roll. The save roll is actually done by the enemy force doing the attack, just the way the code works. But the DM will be able to see it and verify that that is working okay. And the other thing is the advantage and disadvantage buttons. You can see if I click that on the player, everything highlights yellow that it applies to, and it now applies to saving throws. Though not when you click these buttons. The saving throws in the backgrounds that are being rolled by the engine when those save attacks are done. So we've given the player advantage. Let's go over here and do another fire breath and click that. And you can see this time we rolled 2 dice, 2 d20s as well as the damage dice. So you can see we passed the save roll again, whereas that first one would have probably failed had we not had advantage turned on. But as I said, it doesn't apply when you roll these dice. That still just rolls a dice. So if you want advantage when you're manually rolling, you just roll twice and take the higher. Same thing. Disadvantage also goes to both. So we've got the highlights now. And again, let's go back and do another fire breath. And you'll see we do 2 19s on those. So that one definitely missed. There we go. So a 4 and a 12. So the 4 is enough to fail it, whereas the 12 plus the actual dexterity value would have pushed it high enough to save that. I think it would have been 15. But with the 4 and disadvantage, they failed. So that's working nicely. And again, advantage, disadvantage still applies to the actions. So we can see here, we have the 2 d20s there. Ignore those. Let's roll again. So with disadvantage, we roll a 7 and an 18 to hit. And we miss because the 7 is too low. Advantage, we'll roll 2 dice again. We roll a 15 and a 5, whereas our 4 and a 15. And so the 4 would have missed, but the 15 hits, and then it rolls the damage. Now again, the dice rolls it shows here are the raw dice, and then the actual result with your modifiers, so proficiency bonuses, all those will be shown over here on the actual results or in here for certain rolls. Okay, so that's the dice rolls, advantage, disadvantage. Now, another thing, let's add a bunch of just actions. Let's just make one really quick one, if I can spell. Let's actually make it a proper action. And then it's 1d8, and let's say we've got a 5 and a 3. Okay, we'll save that. And then the highlight won't show up if you add an action. It goes away because it redraws all those things. That's okay. Something I'll have to fix. But yeah, let's just keep adding in actions over and over again until we have too many. So you can see here, it just popped up a scroll bar on the left-hand side. So if you have a whole lot of actions, a bunch of different spells, different spell levels, and so you end up having way more than can be seen here. And when it gets to be too many, now a scroll bar will show up, so you can scroll through your actions and still get to them all. So that will let especially sorcerers, wizards, mages, all them will have a much easier time actually adding in all the different spells they've got and having access to them here on the side. Another thing I fixed, and we'll see the fix side, on the editing side, if we open something up to edit it, you can see the damage type is properly slashing. There was a bug, though, where slashing and thunder would when you went to edit, would rekey as radiant and slashing, and that was just something in the script. I hadn't added radiant damage into the initial editor, then realized later that it needed to be added, but I forgot to add it in the script that checks when you go to edit an attack action or a spell. When it opens up the menu and tells it, okay, these are the settings to put in, the type of damage is saved as an integer, and I forgot to code in that radiant was now also there. So integer slashing is integer 13 with the radiant in the list, or without the radiant in the list, and with it in, it was keying 13. Oh, that's radiant instead of slashing. Sorry, that's a long roundabout explanation, but the bug is fixed. Okay, so another fun thing, let's go back to the DM screen, and we need to go to a menu that has torches, so let's return to the campaign. Let's go to just Nortburg, the town. I know it's got torches, and let's make this dusk so we can see this. So, the Dungeon Master and the players can now both do this, but whenever anything that's a light, so campfires, these wall torches, these candelabras here, if you click them now, you can actually turn them off, and that syncs to the player. So let's actually have the player walk over there, and let's walk them in, and you can see those ones that were on, this one and this one, are turned off now, and this one, these guys aren't emitting light. Let's go back. So we click that on, and then go here, and look at that. It's now on, it's emitting light again. The players can also turn them off. Let's turn all these guys off, make that nice and dark, and again we go over to the Dungeon Maker screen, and you can see that has synced, and that will sync to all the players. Now, I did this in a unique way. When it comes to doors and being able to open and close, and that being synced, so let's leave that, move down, so that's closed. We go here, let's open it, and we see that, and it's open for the players. Now, the doors I made as networked objects. So these are objects that are actually spawned on the server, and their state is automatically synced to all the players. Now, that was fairly easy to do on the coding side because doors in the save file, they have their own layer and their own object type. So I just tell the game anything that's supposed to be, that or has a door object type is in the door layers. When you spawn it as a network object, and don't spawn it on the player's side, only spawn it on the server. Now the lights, though, we have actually 3 different types of light in the game. You have these placeable decor lights that can go on top of furniture. You have these wall covering lights on the walls, and then you have furniture-based lights, which is stuff, if we run over here, I believe there's one here, yeah, these fire pits and that are furniture. So they all exist on different layers and have different object types. So if I wanted to filter those out and spawn them as network objects, I would have to, in the code, manually find them. Basically have the code go through all the furniture that's being placed and say, are any of these a light source? Same thing with all the wall covers, all the ground-based decor ones. And that just was going to be really, really annoying. So what I've instead done is when you click on a light source and it detects that that's a light source that you can toggle, it actually sends a message to all the other players in the DM, or from the DM to all the players, telling them to all turn off a light at the point, or on a light at the point where it was clicked. So it sends the coordinates where it was clicked, and then whether the light needs to be on or off. And then on this, when that message is received by the players, it tells, they basically ray trace that coordinate, see if they hit a light, and if they do, they toggle it to whichever state it's supposed to be. Now this does mean, though, if another player joins into the game and some of the lights have had their states toggled, The player that joins, though, all their lights will be defaulted to on, so they won't see the lights that have been turned off. This is only really a problem if a player joins late and the situation of the lights has been changed, or a player loses connection and rejoins after the lights have been toggled. And the cure to that is for the players or DM just to go through and re-click all the lights so they're in the correct state. I haven't figured out how to make it so that a joining player can basically look at like the DM's server side and see which lights the DM has turned on and off. That's something I've got to figure out for the future. But for now, it's just a fun little feature you can use to sort of spice up the games. You can make a room suddenly go dark or light it up. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get that synced properly in the future. Okay, and then the last bit of this update I've got is the addition of the briefing screen I've talked about in the previous update where we were adding the art. So there's a new button in the DM menu, and this is visible on the campaign screen as well as in the encounter screen, whereas the rest of the DM menu only applies to these encounter maps. But if I click on this briefing screen, it brings up this new menu here. So we've got the 3 artworks I've added to the game so far. As I do more paintings and make more artwork, I will be adding those here. So you'd select one of the artworks, tell it whatever text you want to display, so I'll just default it to the title of the picture. And then you hit the show briefing button here, and that pops up. Now if we go to the player, that's what they see as well. So this takes over the whole screen. The players have no way out of this, like there's no buttons for them to close it. This is for the Dungeon Master to turn on and off. And then for the Dungeon Master, yeah, they have a button here that just says close, and once they close it, you just go back to the game wherever it was. So all the players go back in, and they see the game however it was when they are before the briefing screen ran up. And as mentioned, that works from the campaign menu as well. So if we bring that up, let's try the campfire. And you'll see that as you type in here, the AWSD does still move the camera. I haven't figured out like how to turn that off without messing up other things in the game. So that will be fixed in the future. But yeah, let's bring that up. So you can see we're on the campaign menu, and then that's what the players see. So this could be useful, like the Dungeon Master will be able to put up a piece of artwork and just talk through bits of the story. Now, because these images are quite large, they're too big to sync over the server. So I can't really have the Dungeon Master or the players have a custom piece of artwork that is able to sync across from the server to the players, just due to the massive size of the message. It would take several seconds through the very limited messaging system built into Unity Mirror to send that much data. And it already takes a while to send all the portrait data in that. So for now, it's limited to whatever paintings I can do. Now, if you have suggestions for what you'd like me to do as a painting, or you want to me to hire you to do commission work, if you have a similar art style, but better ideally, and want to do some artwork for this, I can potentially pay you for that. But for now, it's going to be my artwork, and I will be adding to this as I'm able to, as I can find time to do these paintings. So yeah, that's the update I've got on this one. Sorry it was a long wait between it. Getting sick did suck, but we're back at it, and I should be working on just more features and things as I'm using the software and figuring out what are the things I want to see added to the game and things I need to fix. But as always, please in the comments leave any suggestions for what you want to see changed or added to the game, any artworks you'd like to see added, and any map objects that can be placed. Please let me know. And as always, have a good one.